Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. What's up, everybody? Good morning and a happy Tuesday to you all. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. If you're already up and at it, big thanks for making us a part of your start. Whether you're listening to us on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, online at sportstalk1051.com. You've got your Alexa devices, Google devices, the app, the Wisco Sports app. You can download that, take it on the go. And the video stream that is up and rolling right now on YouTube. Don't forget to follow the YouTube page as well. But a very happy Tuesday. What do we have on our game plan for us this morning? The trade deadline has come and gone for Major League Baseball and the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Brewers do make a couple of moves yesterday. Brewers, first off, acquiring couple of pitchers from the Cardinals. Dustin May, if that name sounds familiar. He nearly no-hit the Brewers earlier this year. So Dustin May and JoJo Ramiro, the lefty reliever, coming over from the Cardinals, going to the Brewers. Brewers sending a couple of prospects back to St. Louis, Frias and Josiah Ragsdale. And then Brewers also acquiring another relief pitcher, this time from the Colorado Rockies, Antonio Sensatella. So Brewers bolstering the bullpen, bolstering the starting pitching staff with a couple of moves yesterday. Dustin May, so far this season with the Cardinals in 21 games started, he is 5-7 with a 4.38 ERA. He has faced the Brewers a couple times this year, that 7-inning game where, again, he nearly had the no-hitter going back on May 27th, pitched 7 innings, giving up just 1 earned run, striking out 9. And he did face Milwaukee back on the 6th, where he went 4 2/3, gave up 4 hits, struck out 7, no earned runs. So bringing in a veteran starter to add to the rotation. And then, as we mentioned, bolstering up the bullpen here a little bit with some veterans. JoJo Ramiro, who is in 44 games this year, 1-3 with a 3.35 ERA on the season. And we got Antonio coming from the Colorado Rockies, 34 games this year, 9-2 record with a 3.61 ERA. So, Brewers fans, your thoughts when we look at the last few days over the trade. So we had the one over the weekend that opened up a couple of roster spots. Well, then here you go. Kind of fits plug and play, right? And then I know Hoyer, the guy that they got from Cleveland in exchange, they ended up trading him to Baltimore to free up some more cash. But what are your thoughts on what the Brewers did yesterday by the trade deadline? We're going to hear from Matt Arnold as he chatted with the media yesterday and to give his 2 cents on the moves. We're going to hear from Pat Murphy as he talked about the trade deadline too. So got that coming up. Brewers also played a game last night, game 1 of a 4-game series with the Pirates, and Brewers fell by 1, falling 4-3 in their contest with the Pirates. Brandon Sproat. Something to watch now with Brandon Sproat. His margin for error got pretty darn small, and then maybe it's to the point now where there is no more margin of error with Dustin May now on the team, and then Kyle Harrison set to return for the Brewers. But Brandon Sproat pulled in the game even during mid-at-bat. And Pat Murphy, after the game, saying he, Sproat, and Matt Arnold are going to be talking about the future now for Brandon Sproat. Not great if you're Brandon Sproat when you hear that. So we'll recap last night's loss, look ahead to game 2 of this series tonight with Logan Henderson going for the Brew Crew. So plenty of baseball chat, plenty of Brewers chat coming your way here this morning. We'll chat a little green and gold with Packers training camp again at practice yesterday. So we'll get you the latest and greatest and the updates surrounding that. That'll be coming up here a little bit later on. It is a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. So what's grinding your gears, peeps? Sports related or make it appropriate here. You can get it off your chest by hitting us up with a quick message on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or hanging out in the Section 105 chat room. So I got that. What else do we got on the docket here? We got a busy Tuesday. We'll chat with RJ Cardinal in the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:30 this morning, 8:25 this morning, as we get set for Badger football camp to open up later on this week. So we'll catch up with RJ around 8:25. Right before that, we are going to catch up with our buddy Ty from Slab Factory, who's usually on every other Wednesday, but a little bit earlier, he's fresh off of the National down in Chicago. So we'll get his thoughts on what he experienced down there too. So that'll be coming up at around 8 o'clock today. So, and as we mentioned, plenty more Brewers talk and baseball talk throughout the morning and wherever else the conversation may lead us to. You have a question, you have a thought, you have a topic idea, you can send it on over. We like it. We think it's a good one. We'll throw it out there for the rest of the listeners to chime in about. So, but let's just jump right into it, shall we? Let's get the leadoff going here. We'll talk some Brewers. We'll lead it off talking some trade deadline. Do you think the Brewers did enough? Do you feel better? Maybe this is the best way to ask this question. Do you feel better about this Brewers team right now than maybe what you did 48, 72 hours ago or a few days ago? Do you feel better? 2026 Brewers. Not 2030 Brewers or 2029 Brewers, but 2026 Brewers. Do you feel better? Did they get better, in your opinion, based off of the moves that they did? Give me your thoughts, okay? We'll take our first break, and then we'll get things going here this morning on the leadoff after these few words. When it comes to feeding your family, quality matters. And for great tasting meats, you don't have to look any further than Mike's Star Market right here in Eau Claire. From fresh cuts of beef and pork to delicious brats, steaks, and all your favorites for the grill, Mike's Star Market brings you the quality and service that you expect from a true local butcher shop. Whether you're firing up the grill, planning a family meal, or stocking up the freezer, stop by Mike's Star Market and experience the difference of shopping local. Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Quality meats, hometown service, in a tradition that you can taste. Lead off time. Let's get things going. Let's lead it off talking about the MLB trade deadline from yesterday when it comes to your Milwaukee Brewers. Or, I know I asked, do you think the Brewers got better? Do you feel better about their chances? I know we got Twins fans. We got Cubs fans. Here's your time to chime in about your team, too. Do you feel like those teams got better? Improved their odds of not only making the playoffs, but maybe making some deep runs into the postseason. What say you? All right. Brewers, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, acquiring a couple of pitchers. Dustin May from the St. Louis Cardinals, starting pitcher. Matt Arnold saying his plans to add him to the rotation. We're going to hear from Matt Arnold here in just a minute. Jojo Ramiro, also coming over from the Cardinals, relief pitcher. And then Antonio Sensatella from the Colorado Rockies is coming to the Brewers. A couple pitchers with some postseason experience and just veteran pitchers overall to kind of add into this young group, this young crop of pitchers for the Brewers. And, well, Pat Murphy chatted a little bit with the media before Matt Arnold was able to, and obviously Skubal is still a topic of conversation for this Brewers team, and Matt Arnold and Pat Murphy. And, let's play a little bit. This is audio courtesy from our good buddy Hunter Baumgart when they were talking about the Brewers and the organization's effort to acquire Tarek Skubal. Let's listen in here quick.
The initial reaction that it was kind of like us against the Dodgers for Skubal. I don't believe that for 1 minute, meaning I'm not saying we weren't. I know we went after trying to get that player. I don't know exactly the details of it all, but I know this. It isn't as simple as that's a better package. It's not as simple as that. There's a lot more layers to it. I don't understand it fully, but I think this is, a bigger situation rather than, well, that was a better package. And to say that the Brewers didn't try is simply incorrect. And I couldn't get anybody to try. You gotta. Sometimes you just gotta. You gotta be responsible too. And the suggestion, Vinny. Does it force you to go tighten, sharpen your sword a little bit? Yeah, it does. So if that creates a little better edge, so be it. Still not going to make it easy. It's not going to make it easy when we play the series against the Dodgers next week. But I'm sure they think they got a little better this week, and they probably did. But I think by the end of today, we'll have gotten better. And but if anything else, maybe this whole time of year helps us start to refocus. Okay, like who are we, and how did we get here? To Soph's point, like we created this. All right, where do we go from here?
But other stuff aside from the package, was there anything to an interest of just being in LA?
I don't know. I have no idea. I know Tarek a little bit, and respect the hell out of him, but I don't know if he had anything to do with that, or I have no idea about that. I really don't. I know that we worked hard on the deal. I know that we were active about that.
All right, again, so that's Pat Murphy talking about the Skubal trade from yesterday. I don't know about the rest of you, or what you take away from some of those comments from Pat Murphy, but I don't want to accuse anybody of collusion, conspiracy, or anything like that, but it almost sounds like, now this is just my reaction from it, the Brewers felt they put together a very good package, offered a good package for Skubal, and then when the details came out, Brewers felt maybe that it was very comparable or even kind of better. And that's kind of some of the narrative that is going around Major League Baseball. I mean, you have the Tigers' president of baseball operations, Scott Harris, being questioned by others across baseball about what he got in return for Skubal, or maybe not waiting closer to the deadline to maximize that value. He said yesterday, we came into this very well prepared. We came into this with a firm idea of the type of deal that we wanted to ultimately land, and we had a deep understanding of what every organization had to offer. I think there's a unique dynamic with a player like Tarek Skubal. Markets at the deadline for the top player are just different than the rest of the market. So I understand the intuition that, hey, you're supposed to wait until the very last second on a deal and then pull a trigger at the very last second to maximize return. That's not how markets for the top players work. There wasn't any need to stretch it any further. The organizations that were involved were extremely aggressive, and they put in what I believe to be their max offers. And then they added to those offers also and got to the point of almost audible pain when they actually produced their best bold offers. And they gave it to us, and we pulled the trigger. The notion that we should have waited 24 or 48 hours later and extracted more value, that's garbage. That's not how these negotiations work. According to ESPN, in the write-up, it says it prompted executives and scouts throughout the industry to wonder why Skubal, the reigning back-to-back American League Cy Young Award winner, didn't yield a bigger package, or at least why this was the package that got the deal done a day and a half before the deadline. And as you heard Murphy in that final question, did Skubal have maybe something to say about it? It kind of makes you wonder, did the Tigers do Skubal a favor? Because something that we talked about last week was there's this thought, this idea that Skubal prefers to be with the Dodgers next year when he was going to be a free agent, that he'd like to go to the West Coast or like to go to the Dodgers. And again, I mean, if you are a top player and you know you're going to get paid and you want to win, it's hard not to say no to a team like the Dodgers. So did the Tigers do him a favor, just a little bit of a favor, do the player right after the years of service they gave him, even though it maybe cost them just a little bit in the return for him? We'll see how it plays out. Some experts out there say the Tigers got a fair package back in return. Some question it, but we'll see how it all plays out. Now, Matt Arnold addressed the media for a few minutes yesterday. Let's hear a little bit from Matt Arnold as he not only discusses that, but also discusses the new additions that the Brewers made.
Hi. What do you got?
Matt, just bigger picture, how do you feel coming off of the deadline here?
Yeah, honestly, I think we were in on a lot of things. I think we did what we can to help the team, and when you're in on a lot of stuff, there's certainly some things where you come up short, and you just got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and try to do what you can to get the next thing. And ultimately, I think we were able to accomplish a lot over the last 48 hours to get some stuff done to really help the team.
Was one of those Skubal?
I'm not going to talk about specific guys. Obviously, we were in on a lot of different things, and like I said, if you're able to access what you can, you get it, and if not, you move on.
You cast a wide net, you always tell us, but was pitching at the top of the list?
Yeah, certainly. I think, especially this time of year, it's really, you can never have enough pitching, and I think the guys that we got are pretty battle-tested, experienced guys. Talked about, Dustin May and Jojo Romero and Antonio Sanzatello. These guys have pitched in some big games, and they're tough, and they're experienced, and so I think they're going to fit in really well.
Was postseason experience on the list?
Yeah, certainly a factor. I think 2 of the 3 guys have pitched in postseason, so yeah, it was absolutely a factor.
With the team's record and obviously the success they've had in the regular season, how did you, identify that pitching was the area that the team needed most?
I think, you get in this time of year, you always need as much pitching as you can, and I think these guys just fit in very different ways, and we're still working through what those roles are going to look like, but we're excited to have all of them.
Matt, how aggressively did you look at potential offensive upgrades? How about that?
Yeah, spent a lot of minutes on a ton of different things. We probably don't have enough time to go through all of it, but I can tell you we were on play on a lot of stuff this week.
May's had the velo bump this year. It looks like fastball shapes and stuff have looked really good for him. Just how do you guys view the stuff?
Stuff is really, really electric. I mean, he's honestly, you saw what he did with us against us a couple weeks ago, and he was really, 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 really good. So again, he's a guy that we're happy to have on our side.
What's the status of Romero?
Yeah, so he had an appendix removal not that long ago. It sounds like it's going to be a couple weeks. I just talked to him. He's great. He's already throwing back, and he says he feels really good.
You talked about roles, Matt, with Harrison coming back and now May. There's a surplus of quote-unquote starters.
Sure.
Will you go with an expanded rotation? Will somebody move to the pen? Will multiple guys kind of go back and forth? What's the thought?
Yeah, still working through what those roles will look like. But again, I think when you start to there's sort of 2 different phases of this. One is obviously getting to the postseason, which we need to do, and we're going to need the innings there. When you get into the postseason, it's kind of an all hands on deck, scenario. And I think we're going to have all these guys available to hopefully help us in both cases.
Will May jump right into the rotation?
I think that's the plan. Yeah, at this point.
The package you guys gave up for the Cardinals.
Sure.
Higher ranked prospects.
Yeah.
Guys with some helium. not exactly what we're used to seeing you guys go up in terms of just the amount there.
Yeah.
What made you comfortable enough to do that?
Prices are high this time of year, so you got to give up something to get something, and we like those guys. Certainly, like guys like Frias and Ragsdale are really, really talented players. But again, we're happy with the guys we got back for sure.
How did this deadline compare to deadlines in the past? I feel like you guys have found yourself in a similar spot as years past. So what did you see in the market this year?
Yeah, it was very active this year. I think maybe a little bit even more so than it was in the past. So there were a ton of different conversations we were having in all directions. But yeah, we just did what we could to help the team.
Were you more willing to give up more? Going into it?
I think certainly we were open to it. I think, again, we wanted to do what we could do to help the team, and that means probably less guys off limits, and we talked about so many different combinations to try to help the group.
Fans always kind of want big splashes for their team this time of the year. What is your, or how do we try to approach that, being responsible, trying to make sure the team is not only successful but stays successful?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly talked about doing some irresponsible stuff as well, but I would say we tried to thread the needle, as Murph says, and I hopefully we accomplished that.
How fine is that line?
How did the upcoming
being responsible?
Sorry.
How fine is that line between being responsible and going forward?
Yeah, I think we were prepared to push a lot of chips in, and certainly, and look, I think we did. To the question earlier, I mean, we like the guys that we gave up this week, but again, we had to give up something to get something.
Does the Dodgers getting Skubal impact your approach after that at all, given you have to go through them?
No, they're already really good. We know that, and we got to go through them to get where we want to be.
When do you think you'll have the new guys here?
It sounds like tomorrow or even late tonight.
Yeah, what went into the decision to move on from Hoyer so quickly after getting over the weekend?
Yeah, good arm. Again, we're fortunate that we have a roster that's really strong, and just felt like it was somebody that we were able to move on from. But again, those are tough decisions when you have to take guys off the roster.
To go back to that Cleveland trade too over the weekend, how did you guys weigh what Yoho's future value might have been here compared to the guys in the ring?
Yeah, Yoho did a great job for us, honestly, and I think the sky's the limit for him, honestly. And the one thing I think for us in that scenario was we really wanted to add catching depth, and I think in this time of year, if you have any kind of catching injury, it's always really tough. And Naylor's a really talented guy who's had experience in the big leagues with experience game planning and all those things that we like. So we were really happy to get Naylor.
When Craig was up here, did you see the potential fit for him on this roster change at all over time, maybe compared to a couple of years ago when he was coming up?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have a really talented bullpen, and Craig was certainly, I think, part of that. Again, just have to give up something that you like to get something that you like, and I think in this case it was just sort of a good fit for both sides.
Matt, when you see your club after this, do you think World Series? Do you think you made a World Series?
I try not to think that far ahead. Certainly that is on our mind, but we're trying to do what Murph talks about every night, which is win tonight.
All right, again, so that was Brewers Director of Baseball Operations, or President of Baseball Operations, Matt Arnold, after the trade deadline yesterday. Your reaction, your thoughts, hit us up. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be back after these few words. It happens every year, 1 minute you're outside, manning the grill, or heading to the lake, watching your kiddos play outside, maybe some ball games, and the next thing you know, you're shopping for school supplies and wondering where the heck summer went. Well, before the backpacks come out and the busy fall schedule takes over, now is the perfect time to freshen up your home with some new flooring from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether it's soft new carpet for the living room, durable luxury vinyl planks for maybe for the entire household, or the mudroom, or the living room, the team at Carpet City Flooring Center will help you find that perfect floor for your family and your budget. They're locally owned. They know Wisconsin homes, and they're committed to making the process easy from start to finish. So make the most of these last weeks of summer. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today, because home is where Wisconsin families make their best memories. All right, continuing to talk some Brewers here on this Tuesday morning. It is a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. So what is grinding your gears? What's grinding your gears, peeps? Hit us up with a quick message or on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, or you can hang out on the Section 105 chat. The question thrown out there, do you feel the Brewers got better, significantly better, a little bit better, maybe stand pat. A couple of you saying, Surveyor Sam says, good morning, DK, and everyone listening. First off, it's Classic Week. Hope the 7:30 crowd is ready because I'm giving a Ric Flair woo off the first tee box. Second, to your question, if the Brewers got better, and I don't know if they did. There was a cohesion on this team that I believe Pat installs within the clubhouse. The last week or two, though, you could tell the trade deadline was weighing on the guys. I just hope they can bounce back now that it's over and get back to the cohesive unit we've seen throughout the Murphy tenure. C-Bomb says, did the Brewers get better? Yes. Did the Brewers improve as much as the Dodgers improved? No. Scooble, the reigning two-time AL Cy Young Award winner, equals tilt to the Dodgers. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm afraid we are a bridesmaid once again. Do you think we have the bats to compete with the Dodgers pitching staff in October? Right now, on paper, if I had to say, probably not. But hopefully, maybe they can get on a little bit of a run and get some momentum. I don't know. It's tough, but we're talking a lot about the pitching, and there might be some changes when it comes to Brandon Sproat. Brandon Sproat last night in the loss to the Pirates, he didn't last that long. Final line for Brandon Sproat in last night's contest goes gets 3 innings. He was actually pulled in the middle of a bat. Stallings comes in, and I mean, the bullpen did a great job of allowing the Brewers to climb back in this game and make it a really close one. But Sproat, 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, struck out 4, but gave up a couple of walks to drop to 3-7 on the season as a 5.27 ERA. And you listen to Pat Murphy after the game. If I'm Brandon Sproat, I might be nervous about what my immediate future might be. And Pat Murphy said after the game that he and Matt Arnold and Sproat planned to meet to determine the next steps for Brandon Sproat, saying, quote, we're going to figure out what the next pieces are. Now, does that include keeping Sproat in Milwaukee or minors or pitching lab or just staying in Milwaukee but transitioning to the bullpen? Remains to be seen. But Murphy did say that the organization generally prefers young starters to continue starting if they're optioned rather than shifting into a bullpen role. But he said every possibility is on the table. He did urge patience, pointing to Corbin Burns' rocky 2019 season as a reminder that early struggles don't always define a pitcher. Quote, this kid has been better than Corbin was in 19, and look what Corbin turned into. I'm not going to suggest that he's going to turn into Corbin next year, but there is a lot there. Sproat, for what it's worth, he said after the game, another bad day, letting guys down again. The only thing I could take back there is just the walk, talking about Sproat said of the 3rd inning, I had the chance to get out of it. Also going on to say, I'm not going to stress over it and try to play GM. That's not my job. I'm just going to keep pushing forward when asked about potential future for this year for the Brewers. And when you factor in that Kyle Harrison's coming back here soon, now they acquired Dustin May, might just be a numbers game. And I think the big decision for the Brewers here might be bullpen or send him down to AAA to continue work as a starter. Because if you look at your rotation, your starting rotation at least, it's Miz, Logan, Harrison, and then you've got Dustin May joining, so that's 4. And then I would imagine that they're going to continue to give starts to either Robert Gasser or Shane Drowan. And then you add a couple more bullpen arms. Maybe there just isn't room for Brandon Sproat to come out of the bullpen at this point. It might just be better for the kid and for the future of this team to send him down and work on his stuff at the minor league level. If they still envision him and view him as a starter, it just might be better, since they've got a little bit more depth now under that bullpen, to send him down to work on that stuff. But I think all options are definitely going to be on the table, because, I mean, we did see Mizorowski come out of the pen, right? We saw him do that in the postseason. But Miz and Sproat are a little bit of a different pitcher. I think that's also fair to say. So we'll see what happens. I mean, knock on wood, nothing like this happens, but we know, we've seen it how many times before. Injuries, they can determine a lot of things here too. So if Sproat is sent down, doesn't necessarily mean that we won't see him again this year, or that he won't be a factor for this Brewers team still this year. But everybody, and we talked about it yesterday, that wanted to see Joey Ortiz in the lineup. Well, I mean, he kind of proved it again last night. Joey Ortiz, 3 for 4. 3 for 4 with an RBI. The only Brewers hitter to have multiple hits. In fact, he had half of them last night. Joey flipping Ortiz. How quickly these baseball narratives, stories change. I mean, it is a long 162-game season, and we're sitting here now saying, you got to keep Ortiz in the lineup, for crying out loud. Dude, right now is hit well. And the fact that he did start at short last night too. So, but I'd rather have Ortiz probably getting more ABs than, no offense, than David Hamilton. Keep him in the lineup. Yelich continues to struggle. He had an opportunity last night with 2 on and couldn't produce. Yelich in his last 27 at-bats is hitting $148, 226 on base, slugging 185. You look at his last 30 games. His last 116 at-bats, $190, on base of a 291, and he's slugging 328. I love Christian Yelich, but right now something's just not clicking. I don't think that they're going to sit him. I know fans are kind of clamoring for that. I don't think they're going to bench him. I think they're going to try to see if he can swing his way out of this. But right now, I can't believe I'm asking this question. But Ortiz or Yelich right now, do you trust in that lineup? I mean, think about it. And it might be a little bit of an overreaction, but Ortiz, in the same amount of games, last 30 games, 308 average, 344 on base, and a higher slugging percentage than Christian Yelich by 200 points. Joey Ortiz is producing far better at the plate than what Christian Yelich has been doing. Joey Ortiz has hit more home runs in the last 30 games Joey Ortiz has hit more home runs in the last 30 games than Christian Yelich. 4-2. I hope Yelich can figure this thing out soon. I mean, this team, especially with no new bats coming, that pressure on Yelich is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and heavier and heavier. Gosh, I really hope he can figure it out here soon. I know Pat Murphy has said it. Guy's hard on himself. He's incredibly hard on himself. He feels bad, but got to start producing here soon, man. All right, let's take a quick break as we start to wrap up the first hour. We'll take a look at Game 2 tonight. Logan Henderson, he's back on the mound. We'll preview that coming up after these quick words. Looking for your next great night out? Well, make it at the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire with live music, exciting events happening throughout the month, great food, cold drinks, and a fun, welcoming atmosphere. There's always a reason to stop by. Whether you're meeting up with friends or looking for something fun to do, the VFW Post 305 has something for everyone. Be sure to follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on all their latest events and entertainment, because there is always something going on at the VFW Post 305, located 1300 Star Avenue, right here in Eau Claire. Game 2 of this series for the Brewers and Pirates is tonight. We got Logan Henderson on the mound, a guy that's, been mentioning quite a bit in the last few days and in the in the last week or so, leading up to the trade deadline. So Logan Henderson has a chance to continue to impress, and his 5-1 record with a 2.66 ERA, looking for his 6th win of the season. And on the flip side, Jared Jones is going for the Pirates in 11 games that he has started so far this year, 2-2 with a 3.81 ERA. Looking at his month of July, since this is his first month in August, he was 1-1 in 5 games with a 2.00 ERA. Logan Henderson, meanwhile, I mean, we know the numbers here, but he's coming off of a pretty darn good month of July himself. In 4 games started, 3-0 with a 2.57 ERA. Not a ton of experience between these batters going up against these pitchers. You're talking about a game worth or maybe a couple of at-bats. So Brewers looking to bounce back after falling 4-3 last night and taking game 2 of the series. First pitch is at 6:40. Coverage will begin 35 minutes prior on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Do you believe the Brewers got a little bit better, significantly better, didn't get better at the trade deadline? Looks like the majority of you say, yes, they got better, but not necessarily better than the Dodgers, which, I mean, I think they got better by default. I think they got better by default because you're adding in Dustin May. Kyle Harrison spoke glowingly of him, spending some time with him in Boston. Obviously, the Brewers are pretty familiar with him, going up against him a couple times this year. So I think from a talent standpoint, I think by default, they got better just adding 3 guys that are going to contribute this year. And 2 of them are going to be out of the pen. One's going to be a starter, and they're veterans. They've been around the block here for a little bit. So I think by default, yeah, they got better. Now, was it better than the Dodgers getting Tarek Skubal? Probably not. But let's see this thing play out. That's the beauty of baseball. That's the beauty of sports. It's decided on the field. Let's see what happens. All right? Let's see what happens. Coming up next hour, we're going to chat some green and gold. Packers a little thin at a certain position group as we kind of close the first week of training camp. Tomorrow will be a week since they began training camp, and already a little thin at a certain position group. We'll tell you about that. And yesterday was the first day of training camp practice with the players putting on the pads. So we'll do some training camp updates. It is a Toys and Four to Grind My Gears Tuesday reminder. So what is grinding your gears? Get it off your chest. Let us know. All right. Text it on over, 715-830-1912. Or you can hang out in the Section 105 chat room. Express picked up a win last night, by the way. They're on the road tonight, taking on Duluth for the final regular season road game on the year. Then they wrap up the regular season with 4 straight at Carson Park, and then it's playoff time. Also today, got high school football practice kicking off, so best of luck to all the high schools that will be kicking off their practice season today. Season's nearly upon us, if you can believe it or not. So best of luck to all the local high school teams and coaches and players that will officially begin their season today. Also on the docket, just a quick reminder too. Usually it's every other Wednesday. We talk with Ty from Slab Factory, but he's actually going to join us today. He's going to join us today at about 8 o'clock. So that's a little over an hour from now, but we'll catch up with him then. So just about a couple minutes left to the top of the hour. Good morning, Morgs.
What's a good word today?
Got nothing.
Yeah, I doubt it. Is there a word that really bothers you though, like an actual word?
Cooked.
Oh, as in using it as a verb?
Yeah.
Like they cooked? Why?
I think for baseball this year, too many of my kids said we're cooked. And
Okay.
I didn't like that.
Okay.
So I told them the only time they can say that in a dugout is if they're talking about a well-cooked steak.
Like if they actually did some physical kitchen labor?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what term would you prefer if your team did cook, like if they were fire?
Well, they did it in terms like they thought they were going to get cooked.
Oh, gotcha.
So
you got to flip the. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, Tuesday tussle, we'll get into just some of your opinions. See if you have some hot takes on this. Cats are better companions than dogs.
I have changed that over the years, and I would disagree. Dogs are better.
Okay. Why did you change your mind? Because of the specific dogs that you've had, or you're just wiser
I guess
now?
I grew up just never having dogs. It was always like cats around, but then Bacardi and that. So, yeah, I changed to dogs.
So you think they're better companions, hands down. Speaking of, how's the little one doing?
He's a feral little shark.
They're land sharks at that age, yeah. You got to watch your arms and everything
Yep.
because they're chewing out everything.
Yep.
Absolutely. They're part T-Rex, I think. Best sports brand right now, if you were shopping, because you know how it goes in cycles and phases. You know, starter jackets were the big thing, and then you had to have like the 3-stripe Adidas.
I'll
And
say,
Under Armour is having a hot minute.
Can
Nike.
I answer that? What I think the kids is?
Yeah.
Baseball lifestyle.
Okay. That's the one right now. What about non-baseball, like universal brands, Under Armour, Adidas, Nike?
I mean, it's probably always like Nike, I would imagine, or
Nike
Jordan.
tends to go that way.
Yeah, Jumpman. So,
What about smoking should be banned in all public places?
oh boy, I plead the fifth.
Nope, can't.
I'm not one, so yeah, go for it.
Have you noticed how
Like
rare
when you
it-
say public places, like while you're golfing.
Sure.
Well, I gotta have a cigar sometimes when I'm golfing. So
To me, cigars and cigarettes are totally different, though. Cigars are like an experience, and it's a different methodology than smoking.
Yeah.
Which, have you noticed, though, it's almost weird to see people lighting up cigarettes these days? 'Cause
No.
You don't know many people that smoke anymore.